Now let's see. Morty, can you tell me how to solve this equation? Uh. Now, I'm the type of student who sits in the back of the class quietly, doodling on my paper or trying not to go to sleep. I don't think I've ever had a problem with my teachers, but I noticed recently the slight differences over the years, or rather more of how I changed towards them. I'm not nearly as focused or engaged as I used to be, and I think they're starting to notice. I say this because I remember one time in my anthropology class, my teacher, who's a very sweet lady by the way, saw that I was animating a video during one of her lectures and walked up to me and just whispered, "Hey, you know you can leave, right?" And it wasn't like one of those teachers that would call you out for not doing a work. She genuinely meant it in the nicest way possible. On that day, I think I had turned in everything was due and had a pretty good grade in that class. But I think she knew everyone in that class was there because it was more of a general education requirement. But I must have been special in some way because I was the only one she let go early. So I don't know if it's something I said one day or that I was the only one that actually did my work. But ever since then, I've loved that teacher. But I do feel a little bad for the teachers because I know the majority of the class is probably in the same boat as me. Whether it's because they don't really want to be there, or they have to, or because it's just way too early in the morning and everyone's so tired to know what's going on, or that everyone is like me and very antisocial, awkward person that is so terrible at any social interaction and would literally do anything to avoid any sort of eye contact while being called on. So, can anybody tell me what's the next step to solve this equation? I don't get paid enough for this job. And I'm not too sure how I feel about it, but some teachers don't mind that side of students that are more to themselves and quiet off the corner. And there's just some that would constantly insist on engagement and will call you out immediately after even a hint of sidetracking. Now, obviously, I'm exaggerating this by a lot, but there are teachers like this. And I'm known by my professors for having pretty good grades and turning in assignments on time, but I do acknowledge I do the bare minimum of each assignment, and I barely do not at all show any signs of interaction or engagement with my teachers or classmates. I think the teachers I get the most along with are the ones that don't expect a lot or really anything from their students. The type that follows the sayings at class schedule every day, not really caring if you fail or not, because all he does is give you the assignment, and if you know how to do it, great. And if you don't, well, email me. And surprisingly, these teachers are kind of rare where I am because these breeds of teachers are close to retirement or already retired. Now, I'm referencing to a very specific history teacher I had in college that taught US history. He was very old but very entertaining. Every day he would follow the same schedule: go to class, go over yesterday's assignment, start reading the notes, and then finish off the next assignment. But the thing that made him so unique to me was that he would go off randomly into long life stories about World War II and would start pacing around the room reenacting certain sections of the notes he would went over and make the darkest jokes I've ever heard a history teacher make. He was one of the first professors I've ever heard cursing. I have never heard someone curse so much in history, and was the only professor I was okay with when he went on ranting about personal life. There is one specific memory I have when, in the middle of class, his wife called him asking about what color the new bathroom floor tiles be, and he just casually took the phone call while everyone was listening in. But the biggest and most legendary thing about this guy was when one of my classmates found out that during his free time in class, this 70-year-old man would just play Call of Duty. Like, randomly, when the classroom would go silent, you would hear aggressive clicking on the mouse and just know he's playing a game of Call of Duty. Some of my friends found his gamer tag and casually actually plays with him. He is a legend, and we all love him. But for my other teachers that I have in my life, you would most likely see me zoning out, doodling on some paper, looking into the abyss of the wall or ceiling. And after years of being bored to death in high school, once I had enrolled to college, I had discovered the most relieving but also slightly awkward thing to ever do in class, which was ditching. That's right, ditching. Something that everyone has done at least a few times, if not more than a few times in their life. whether at school or work or at a boring event. I remember the first time I ever ditched my class was in my philosophy class. I remember it was because my laptop died, so I couldn't fidget with anything, and I forgot to bring paper, and I honestly didn't really want to sit and listen to the philosophy lecture. I remember eyeballing the door and aggressively shaking my leg because I've never left class this early. It honestly felt like an intense movie scene where everything around me felt muffled except for the clock, how much I was sweating, and a weird amount of anxiety throwing in my stomach. After I think about 30 minutes of just staring into the clock, I finally got up and basically ran out the door. I didn't want to look back because I'm pretty sure the whole class was staring at me. Ever since that moment, my whole life, the way I viewed class and school has ever so slightly changed. Anyways, this video is taking a bit longer than I thought, so I'll be making a part 2 soon. Or kinda soon, I don't know. Whenever I end up getting to it.